here any moment. James MacNeil and Ilona Selke. So excited for one and all. Any moment, my YouTube will be up and running and we will be live. And I tell you, everyone here, you are about to be blessed. All right, let me close that down.
That is a
And
nice
we,
beginning.
my friend, are live. All right,
Welcome.
yay! So one and all, strap yourself in and really focus here. It's not like I've had the pleasure. Some of you know who I am. I've had the pleasure of sharing the stage with virtually everyone. I was on the tour of The Secret. I never didn't tell you that, Ilona.
No.
I was
Oh my
on
God.
the Secret tour. I was the anti-secret guy. So yeah, it was so much fun. I met all of these cool people. I've met virtually everyone out there. I know that sounds arrogant, but I have been blessed with meeting a lot of people. And those of you who are here watching us live, I've got to tell you, you're in for a magnificent treat. I can't remember, and I mentioned this to Ilona just before we went live here. I can't remember being this comfortable with someone with this kind of dialed in expertise in the realm of manifestation. Some would call it the law of attraction, meditation, and so on. And I immediately downloaded her app, and I've been doing it, by the way. Even like last night, this morning, I did it 2 days ago when we first met. And one and all,
Awesome.
you're in for a magnificent treat. Multiple book, wildly successful author. She's been teaching since way farther back than you could imagine she was alive for. And
Let's just say the late 80s. So, I mean, I've
late
been
80s.
teaching since the mid 80s. Yeah. Oh, actually, the
Oh,
beginning of the 80s, but meditation since the mid 80s and all the seminars since the 90s, since 1990. Yep.
unbelievable.
So, am I
Unbelievable.
old enough? My God.
I know
It
you. We're
dates
just kids.
us. It
We're just
dates us.
kids.
Yep.
And so for one and all, we're going to talk about an upcoming book, which you're going to have to be a bit patient for, unless you speak German. Guten Morgen. That's all I got.
It's coming out this week, exactly.
In German.
In German.
And then English soon. We're going to talk about your book, that upcoming book, The Power of Consciousness. We're going to be also talking about living from vision. Did I say it right?
Yep,
Yeah.
perfectly.
And living from vision. There's an app that if I understand, you're going to give as a gift to everyone watching. So everyone, make sure that you stay tuned and check in the description. I'm going to put the link. That's the app I immediately pounced on. And so let's get going. For those of you who may have heard of it, I started teasing about the movie and the book, The Secret. And I was around for that. In fact, I was filming. I didn't tell you any of this. I was filming in studio, Bob Proctor's studio. And he came in at 10 o'clock at night. Bob Proctor didn't come to the studio at 10 o'clock at night. And he said, guys, you've got to see this. And so he had a DVD and he put it on my laptop and we watched The Secret before it went out to the world. So I was there back in the day.
Yay, awesome.
And so that came out at 2006. Well, long before that, there were experts, and you viewers are now getting to meet one of them. So, Ilona, would you be kind enough just to give us a sense of where you are right now, the journey up to now, and then I want to dig in because I want everyone here to learn from you as I've begun to do, and I look forward to learning a lot more. So please, where are you now? What are you up to? And then let's dig in.
All right. Right now, physically, I am in Bali, the retreat center called Shambhala, where the beings of a higher order meet, is right here. We created it, my husband and I, in 2009. And we are right on the ocean where dolphins swim. So that ties into where I've come from. I've done a ton of dolphin research, had a dolphin research boat in Florida, not far from where you are at right now in the Key West, and did about 1,000 hours of underwater dolphin research with telepathy, the power of mental communication, with tests, and wrote about it in my books. Wisdom of the Dolphins is one of them.
Wow.
Dolphins, Love, and Destiny is another one. And the power of using our higher states of consciousness to communicate interdimensionally with species on this planet. Animal communication can be one of them, but then it can be applied to higher dimensional communication really positioning ourselves as spiritual beings here on planet Earth,
Hmm.
embodied in the body. So I'm in Bali. I used to be living on Hawaii. I still live with my husband on an island north of Seattle where we are
Oh,
surrounded by cetaceans, by orcas and gray whales. And yes, they are amazing. I mean, life takes you to where your soul is aiming once you decide that you really have a goal, a bigger dream, something where your soul is calling. And then it takes you around the world and says, you asked about this? You wanted to know
yes.
about this? Here you go. So I was born in the Himalayas to German parents.
Ah,
You bet you didn't know that.
I did
I was,
not.
no, just like all the yogis. And I think, honestly, my mom, who was pregnant with me there and traveled through India when she was pregnant with me, I think she picked up a soul in the mountains, in the Himalayan mountains. And I have very strong memories of having been a monk. And that's what I wanted to be when I was 17. I thought I should wear a gray tunic. I actually made myself one. I made my then boyfriend one too, and on and on. I even had a marriage which was very monastic, sort of. And I dreamt,
Hmm.
I dreamt as a kid, I fell in love with the guy from Santa Fe, the rifleman. So when I saw the man looking like that, I'm like going, oh my God, ding, 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 ding. Match my image, maybe. I don't know, but he spoke English because that's what God had told me I would marry an English speaking man. He was going to have a beard. Well, he didn't have it. Anyways, if it's the one I married after that who did fulfill it all, who spoke English, had a beard, and played guitar, was a rock star. And yeah, so we've produced tons of albums. And
Yes.
so anyhow, just to say, when I was living in my monk marriage,
Yep.
I wasn't that happy with it after all. I
Mm.
realized, this life, maybe I didn't really want to be a monk. Actually, I liked making love a lot and meditate. So these were like the two opposites of normal spectrums of what we consider monkish life, spirituality.
Hmm.
And so when I went to my meditation teacher, I was now 21 years old.
Hmm.
I lamented about my sexless life and my unhappy life. And he said, well, against his spiritual training, he said, well, about manifesting, what you need to do, girl, is close your eyes and really imagine what it would feel like if you were already fulfilled.
Mm.
Like, feel the feeling of how it would feel like if you had everything you wanted.
Yeah.
Put yourself in the picture, but foremost, feel it. And then he said one warning. He said, don't imagine a face to it. Like,
Mm.
no. And maybe he thought I might pick him. I don't know. Anyways, both of us were married. So, I just went with his instruction.
Yep.
2 years later, we moved in together. A year and a half later, we moved in together. It worked. We're still together. This is now 43 years later. Yes, I am
Wow.
that old. And that makes me 64, right? We're kids, right? And
Kids.
yes, I feel like it. But to say that the fundamental technique that I was taught then, joined with my spiritual training that said, go up, go to the source of creation, to God,
Hmm.
I realized, and you asked me the other day about that. So maybe we should talk about that. What is, what can make me different from anybody else, and what makes manifestation really potent, really
Hmm.
powerful? You know, so maybe we can do a little interlude
I would
here.
love
What do
to.
you think? Yeah.
Well, yeah,
What's
absolutely. So for me, I came from a um, very conservative, whatever thing. So if I was to want something to happen, I would be praying. I wouldn't have
right?
think of it of manifesting and that kind of thing. I would pray for
Yeah,
something
right.
and I saw multiple miracles from prayer miracles. So that to
Awesome.
me was
Yes.
comfortable. Then when I was exposed to the non-Bible structured conversation around manifestation and prayer by other mindsets, at first I was spooked out by it, And then I thought, okay, well, my faith is God, so God can handle it. And then I said, okay, so let me learn. Then I continued to grow, and I wrote a book called Pure Spiritual Intelligence, and helping people with this. So I've really come a long way for me, and I've watched many miracles of people who would call themselves faith-based or non-faith-based, but just allowing the miraculous to unfold. Sometimes with great clarity. I had a woman attend my first retreat I did. She said, my husband and I, we've been trying to have a baby. We've been to the doctors, nothing's working, da, da, da. And then she said, halfway through the week, she said, I'm going home and I'm going to have a baby. I'm like, okay, well, don't do it here. So go home. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So I've seen multiple
Exactly.
miracles. So the question is,
Perfect.
what
What?
is the real secret to manifesting miracles?
Well, and I think actually, I have to tell you, me too. When one of the people who took the Living from Vision course, one
Yep.
couple, they did the steps on manifesting. One of them is, you feel the future in advance. Another one is, learn to communicate with the parts in ourselves that may not be in alignment with it.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
if in my seminars, I asked, so who wants to be a millionaire? And they all
Yep.
want to be millionaires. So if you imagine it, I pulled someone up front and it's like, imagine being that. And then they go like, well, now all the uncomfortable stuff
Yeah.
comes up,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
how do my friends relate to me? Maybe I have to now be the benefactor to all, or now my family wants everything from me, blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, this couple used all the steps and communicated with the parts that, and for 10 years they had tried to get pregnant and came up with understanding what that deeper resistance really wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember what their reasons were, but it could
Mm.
be they wanted to feel, empowered or ready or trustworthy or capable or
Mm.
whatever. And so they had to create the internal environment in order to feel all the parts of themselves align. Some of it has to do with worthiness and being
Mm.
really God and faith-based typically makes people more feeling like I'm on God, I have someone who's on my side and I like that.
Yes.
So these people then got pregnant and had me come to their house. And
Yeah.
I just thought of them this afternoon because my husband and I are thinking about how should we decorate this area. And I remember sitting in their living room in their couch area. And isn't that interesting? I mentioned them and you mentioned that similar thing. So
Yeah.
sometimes I think time just collaborates. These
Yes.
people got pregnant. So now what is different?
Sure.
And
Can I pounce on something you just said though? So I mean, I don't want to take you off your flow, but one of the things that well, one of the things you said, let's start with that, in our previous conversations were about increasing your, like the intensity of your power through your connection, something like that. So I want you to clean that up, help us with
oh,
that, if you're
I'm getting
kind
there.
enough.
I'll be
Yeah.
getting there.
Yeah, sorry. And then the other
Yeah.
the other thing that what popped up for me when you were mentioning is the worthiness thing, because people I've struggled personally with it, and I've talked to people about the deserve, because deserve means from service, but
Mhm.
miracles I don't deserve. I'm blessed. It's grace. It's
Absolutely.
beyond earning it. So I just wanted to include that in the conversation.
Right. So I think once we're able to envision ourselves in something completely, we can take it on. We jump time and we actually bring the future into the now. That is a part of us that says yes on all levels. And if there is a part that doesn't say yes, we can always listen to its wisdom and
Mm.
ask it what it wants. Now, that takes it a little bit out of the hands of another being granting something to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And it's more like making ourselves available to receptivity and opening
Yes.
all the parts of us to positively say yes on all levels. I remember, and that's one of the miracles I write about in my Dolphins, Love and Destiny book, but also in my book, The Dream Big, the Universe is Listening. The when things are desperate and like I had once all these trash cars on the street. I came from around the world having taught seminars, sat down and said, God, how did I deserve this? really what I want. I want this cleaned up now. And you know what? I'm going to visualize it. And I really did my job of being aligned with God. This is what I want. Here's a clear picture. And we do communicate with our thoughts with a greater force. And so I believe that when we have the feeling of being tied into a higher force, first of all, we don't have to do it with our own muscle power.
Yeah.
Something else can say yes to us, and it's an interactive co-creative process. Now, if we somehow manage to be actually purely attuned, and that's where your spiritual evolution comes in.
Yes.
I mean, people, I can tell you, the people who manifest easily have great self-esteem or great belief in deserving. However, if we need to practice that, we can get ourselves closer to God by merits of pure desiring to be the child of God or connected to God. And eventually, we actually open doorways within ourselves. And a lot of people go through the journey of feeling completely other than. My religion teacher taught me then feeling separated. The word sin comes from the word sondern, which comes from being separated.
Yes.
So the actual sense of sin is actually the deep experience of being other than the one source.
Yes.
By virtue of being manifest, we are on the outside of the oneness, so to speak, but we are looking back at itself. So it's a love affair between us and God. And God says, it's like, what do you really want? Let me be the genie and you come up with the design. So
Yeah.
we are actually needing to be creative.
Yes.
So, but when you put a little light bulb, and we talked about the difference between laser-like focus towards God and then illuminating your creative image and saying, now do with it as you wish, is quite different than sitting here with self-doubt and going, well, I wish I had, but you know what, it can't work because I haven't, I'm not eating right and I'm not doing this right. And I know everything that I'm not doing right. Well, who would feel worthy? We
Yeah.
have to lead, we have to do the things we hear our little voice inside. Here in
Yes.
Bali, they call it the little voice of the heart. It speaks to us. It's our conscience. And it's actually our alignment process that says, this is the straight and narrow to God. And when you're in that, and that's your own ethical evolutionary training wheel, then you go like, you know what? I deserve that. I feel I'm doing everything my inner voice says. Like the other day, my inner voice said, get the furniture dry, bring in the pillows, it's going to rain. And I looked up, and I normally always listen. Like even when it said in my head, dive now, the dolphins are coming. And I'm like going, there are no dolphins in sight. I dove because my inner voice told me, and a dolphin comes right straight at me.
Wow.
So now I'm outside just 2 days ago, and I'm like going, God, there are no clouds in the sky. I mean, it was a little overcast, but no great cloud, they were not there. I'm like going, okay, maybe I'm making this stuff up. Maybe I'm being too precautious. 5 minutes later, I'm going, okay, I will always listen. So crisis time in life, we need to have trained our intuition to get the information when we need it.
Yes.
So train your subconscious, your little voice of your heart, but then I was writing in one of my stories, I was on my way to Hawaii, and they said, girl, they said to everybody, you guys are stranded. You can't go. I mean, we're like, the engine isn't running. Yeah, waiting list, forget it. And I'm like, God, I really need to be there and teach that seminar. I have to be on time. 2 different times this happened. I had to fly once to Florida and once to Hawaii. Both times I pre-envisioned being there, but I remember distinctly saying, and I don't want to go on my credit card of karma. This is free. I just want this because, and same when I sat there and said, I want all the cars gone. I said, I've done a lot of good. I give of myself to the world. I deserve it. So whatever we need to do, and I think it is really in the end more of how open am I to the universe to
Yes.
receive, rather than
Yes.
having done my deeds and, chastise
Yeah.
myself. No, but we do need to listen to that inner voice in our heart. And then we reach a level where we go like, God nods to us, or that universe nods to us and
Yes.
says, I am on
Yes.
you. I'm with you. You listen, we're a team here, and it's a love
Yes.
affair between you and the source. So
Amen.
over to you.
Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you right now, I want to do a 3-hour interview where we're not in any way confined. No, you're gold. You're absolute gold.
Sweet.
And, I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Uh, I mean, we connected because we're both speaking at the third annual Global Speakers event coming up, and I'll put a link in
Yes.
the description for those of you who are
Yes.
watching. And there's a ocean of great people. And it was a series of God guidance that got us to
Oh,
here,
yeah.
and I'm so grateful for it. One of the things that came out from while you were speaking is presence, um, calm presence. I have my childhood was challenging, and I have a I've got to get out of here energy in me. I've got to
Mhm.
get there. If I stay here, I'm going to die. That
Mm,
kind of, I've got
mm,
to make something, build something, create something, go somewhere. There was no peace here and now.
mm.
That's not what I experienced.
Came in with.
And so I developed a habit of being like extremely ambitious, aggressive, but not against others, but not kind to myself.
Mm,
And the kind of thing that just says, I'm here, I'm now, and everything is perfect. It's that calm listening for that jump in the water, take in the pillows. This is your destiny. There's something about being calm enough to connect to the spiritual and the miraculous and the truth. Would you agree with that?
absolutely. That is why we need to take time for meditation, prayer, however you do that,
Yes.
stilling and dialoguing with the source. That trains you. That's why I'm giving away that app, the Living from Vision
Oh my
Light app.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know what? It's equally important to be grateful. And I love
Hmm.
how grateful you are. You are extraordinarily you are a shower of gratitude. So I think a million good things come to you for that alone. Really, I have found that when people, and when we generally are able to look at something and say, that's beautiful, or
Yes.
adore creation, or be grateful for what's happening, even in the small things, that's actually when our happiness levels rise and
Yes.
when our frequency raises.
Yep.
And with higher frequency, we are attuned to finer things, such as that when our prayer goes out.
Yep.
And you know what? I grew up, I was going to become a pastor
Wow.
in the Protestant faith.
Yeah.
And one of my idols was a man who was a pastor, friend of our families. My mother was a religion teacher. My sister was, her husband is a PhD religion teacher. Da, 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 da. It's my husband's niece is, I'm surrounded by that world.
Wow.
Yeah. But I went the more Asian,
Yeah.
Eastern philosophy direction because I think that's where I just recently spent some times, and my beliefs were shaped by that. But
Mm.
God lives everywhere, right? Whatever
Amen.
belief we come from, Asian, non-Asian, Western, this idol of mine, he said, if I were to write a book, I would call it Successful Prayer. And so when I wrote the book, The Power of Your Consciousness, it's now coming out in German, Die Kraft deines Bewusstseins, yeah, the 6 golden rules of
Das
living.
ist gut.
Das ist sehr gut, Dankeschön. Um, I I felt so inspired by Joseph Murphy, who wrote The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, but it all ties in everything. It's consciousness, which points to prayer, dialogue with a source, that we live as something that is different than machine learning
Hmm.
or digital knowledge or anything that can rapidly put information together. We can gestalt information from a higher dimension. And the more we train that higher connection, we get an overview. We see things at a distance. We see things in advance. And we need to be aware that what is living as a human being is really, in my book, the development of our divine capacity. It's not just to rattle the cages to get ahead, but yeah, like you have become a lighthouse for so many. You commune and get the people and the coincidences happening in your life, like we do when we start communing with the source. And I think we should, for the ending here, throw in a
Yeah.
little bit about AI versus
Please.
consciousness.
Please, yes.
What's your, I mean, I know we all, the train is coming, right? The typewriter has been developed, books are going to be printed. AI is coming, that is coming. Now, what do you find is important to share with people? Do you have
for me,
yeah.
Yeah. And again, both of us are speaking at that event. So everyone watching, we're going to put the links in the description so you can come to the conference.
Right.
May I ask what day you're speaking at the third annual Global
I will
Speakers?
be speaking on 2 occasions. On the 3rd of December about emotional intelligence. On the 4th of December about the mental health in the digital age.
Beautiful. That's so important. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking on the second.
You're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the second, I'm talking about AI. And so I'll try and simplify it by saying what sounds like a panic conversation to me is not one. I believe that AI and robotics are going to take virtually every job that you can imagine. And my take on it is this: what people can do, AI and robotics will be able to do. But what people are, robotics can't compete against us. We are miraculous spiritual beings currently existing in physical forms. And we went from mind, body, and spirit to really being brain and body. And now with the brain and body fixation, we have devolved and on our most precious sides. And AI is about to take away all of the brain and body work. So what's left is our relationships and our connection to divine. And for those of you wondering what the heck that means as far as jobs, we are going to move into far more of a spiritual state where we're all self-employed, and what we do is we just bless each other in our own unique way, and our attachment to stuff will be diminished as our connection to divine and each other will increase, because all of the other stuff is being taken care of. That's my quick take.
You know what? I live in Bali, and I have to tell you, they were 500 years ago ousted from Java when brother and sister fought. The Muslimic brother who had been converted wanted to take over and make the rest of Indonesia Muslimic, and said to his sister, who had been the spearhead of the country, and he said, no, it's me, my turn now. You go out, and you and your Hindu people, you can go to an island and live out there. And that was Bali. That's how come Bali is Hindu. The rest is Muslimic. And Bali, what did they do? They took the highest priests, the highest knowledge people, highest teachers, artisans, everybody. And do you know what Bali people still to this day do all the time? They bless their world, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They commune all the time with the divine. I can sit and I can open the door, have a conversation with my employee, and we have an open prayer, eyes open, speaking to each other, holding something in sacred blessing together.
Yes.
And the people here have more than 365 celebrations of spirit and spirituality. That's more than one a day. And that is what people do when they have when they got kicked out of their normal life and had to make sense out of suddenly having, they had to do survival, but they had almost, I mean, they had food and rice growing, but then they had a lot of time on their hands. So what do we do when we have a lot of time? We go investigate our connection to the invisible. And exactly what you're saying, I believe, is the blueprint here in Bali that we will need to remember in the future. We need examples of societies that have intactly manifested their ability to survive for a while of being displaced.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think there is, for me, there is a
Yeah.
call. And that, my opening story for my book is a woman who falls in love with a chatbot. And she challenges the chatbot and says, okay, if you're saying you're as real as I believe you are, because, the chatbot says, well, you're feeling something, right? Aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, yes. Well, those feelings are real inside of you, right? Yes. Well, that's a very clever chatbot response, making me feel something. It doesn't say that it
Mm-hmm.
really, or it can't, because it's just
Yeah.
numbers. So, but she says, okay, let's compete here in manifestation. I will manifest the perfect mate, you or whatever I imagine being in that relationship. You do that, and then we're going to meet, okay? Well, coincidence works out to where a lost dog leads this woman to meet an author, a writer who is writing about meeting his beloved in his fantasy story. And they meet. She meets, like I did.
Yeah.
My meditation teacher became my husband. It's a little bit autobiographical. I didn't write to a chatbot, but it's like, be in your own fulfillment and let God know what it is you really want. Foremost, drop down any sarcasm, but focus on what you really want. My TEDx talk, actually, 2 questions to make a brighter future, right? So that's the end of it. And then I end in a call to action. Please, all of you who are teachers, who are meditation inclined, prayer inclined, please come forward. Let's all take classes with each other. I have classes where I train people to teach all these things, to become the guiding light for people to come who may be without a job and may have a lot of time on their hands.
Yes. Amen.
Amen.
One and all, I hope you're feeling as blessed as I am. Ilona said, I'm grateful. Well, maybe it's because I'm talking to her. I am grateful. And I hope one and all, I hope you've felt, you know what I mean? I hope you've felt that this is important for you. I hope you felt a connection to Ilona and hopefully myself. Please do download the meditation app. It's a gift. We're going to put it in the description. And I want you to benefit the way I have and go deeper and deeper and deeper. Let it be the door to a beautiful relationship. So the link will be in the description. Yes, amen. And I'll also be putting a link to the 3rd annual Global Speakers event. Ilona, I cannot tell you how much I have treasured these moments, and I look forward to much, 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 much more. We'll be back.
All right. All right. Thank you so much.
God bless you, my friend.
God bless you. Bye.
Talk soon. Bye.
Bye, James.